Yalla la la la, yalla la la la, yalla la la la, yalla la yalla la, yalla la la la, yalla la la la, yalla la la la, yalla la yalla la, yalla la la la, yalla la yalla la, yalla la 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 la. Kiva Moed, Kiva Moed, Kiva Moed, Kiva Moed, Lai Lai Lai, Yallai La Lai Lai, Yallai La Lai Lai, Yallai La Lai Lai, Yallai Yallai, Yallai La Lai Lai, Yallai La Lai Lai. Yalla la 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 yalla la yalla la yalla la 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 yalla la yalla la yalla la 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 ya la 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 kiva moed kiva moed kiva moed. Nice. David and Tina? Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Agudath Israel Etz Ahayem Synagogue here in Montgomery, Alabama. I am Rabbi Scott Kramer. Thank you for joining us for Kabbalat Shabbat, this Shabbat Shuvah, this Sabbath between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. I hope all of you are safe and not in the storm's path. I know some of our viewers might be in harm's way, and we just pray that the storm abates and doesn't cause too much more damage. So with that, we are praying. Hello, David. Hello, Tina. Nice to see you. Yeah. Oh. Tina thinks I called them out because they're late. Well, you're not late. It's 6 o'clock straight up. We are praying out of Sidor Lev Shalem for Shabbat, and we will begin on page 10. Yedid nefesh avarachaman mishoch avdach eritzonach yarutz avdach kemo ayal yishtachave muladarach Ki yerav lo yedidutach minofet suf vechol ta'am Adonai eziv haolam nafshi cholat avatach anoel narefanala beharod la noam zivach az titchazek v'titrape v'hayetalach shivchat olam v'tikemu rachamecha v'chusna al ben ohavach. Ki ze kama nichsof nichsaf lirot betiveret ozach. Anai li machmad libi chushana ve'yantitalam higalena afros chaviv alai et sukat shelomach ta'ir eretz mikvodach Nagila v'nismecha bach ma'auf kiva moed v'chaneini ki me'olam yalalai lai 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 yalalai lai 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 yalalai lai 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 yalalai lai 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 Yalla lai 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 Yalla lai 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 Yalla lai 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 Yalla lai 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 Yalla lai 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 Yalla lai 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 Yalla lai 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 lai. We continue with Psalm 95, page 11. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena Lechu neranena ladonai, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena ladonai. Naria, naria, letzor yishenu, nekad mafana betoda. Naria, naria, letzor yishenu, bizmirot naria lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, Lechu neranena ladonai, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena ladonai. Naria, naria, letzor yishenu, nekad mafana betoda. Naria, naria, letzor yishenu, bizmirot naria lo. Please join me in the English. Let us go and sing to Adonai. Let us trumpet praise to our protector. Filled with thanks, let us greet God, raising our voice in song. Great is Adonai, a greater sovereign than all other deities. God's hands formed the earth's deep. Mountain crests, too, are God's work. The sea is God's, for God made it. Dry land was fashioned by God's hands. Come then, let us bow and kneel. Let us bend our knees in the presence of Adonai who formed us. For Adonai is our God, and we are God's flock, sheep in God's caring hands. If only you would listen today to God's voice and not become hard-hearted, like the people at Meribah, like the time at Massah, in the desert when your ancestors tried me and tested me, though they had seen what I had wrought. For 40 years I was troubled by that generation, and I said, these are a people whose hearts have gone astray. They do not know my way, so in anger I swore they would not enter my rest. Arba'im shana kut bedor v'amaram to'eh levavim v'heim lo yad derachai asher nishpati v'api im yavaon El Menuchati, page 13, Psalm 96. Ashiru Ladonai Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai Baruch Shemo, Basru Meyom Leyom Yeshuato, Sapru Vagoyim Kevodo, Bechol Amim Nifliotav, Ki gadol Adonai, O mehulal miyob, no rahu, al ko Elohim, lai lai lai, ki ko Elohe ha'amim elilin, v'Adonai shamayim asa, Hod v'hadar lefanav, Oz v'tiferet b'mikdasho, Havu l'Adonai mishpachot amim, Havu l'Adonai kavod v'oz, Havu l'Adonai ke'evod shemo, Seu mincha, Uvahu lechatzerod of Laila, Shtachavu l'Adonai, Behadrat Kodesh, Chilo mipanav kol haaretz, Imru v'goyim Adonai malach, Aftikon tevel balatimot, Yadina min b'meisharim, Yismechu hashamayim v'dagel haaretz, Ayiram hayamu mehelo, Yalo sadai, V'chol asher bo lai lai lai, Az yiranenu kol hatziyar, Lifnei Adonai kiva, Kiva lishpot haaretz, Yishpot tevel b'tzedek, V'yamim b'emunato, Yalai lai lai lai, Yai lai lai lai, Yai lai lai lai, Lai 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 lai, Yai lai lai lai, Yai lai 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 lai, Yai lai lai lai. Page 15, Psalm 97. Adonai reigns, let the earth be glad, the many distant lands rejoice. Clouds and thick darkness surround the divine. Righteousness and justice secure God's throne. Fire goes before God, consuming besiegers round about. Flashes of lightning illumine the land. The earth watches and trembles. Mountains melt like wax at the approach of Adonai, at the approach of the Master of all the earth. The heavens tell of God's righteousness, and all the nations see God's glory. Worshippers of idols be shamed for praising false gods. All that is deemed supreme bow before God. Zion hears of it and rejoices. The cities of Judah exult as you, Adonai, pass judgment. You, Adonai, are above all that is earthly, exalted over all that is worshipped as divine. Those who love Adonai hate evil. God protects the lives of the faithful, saving them from the hands of the sinful. Light is sown for the righteous and joy for the upright. Rejoice in Adonai, you righteous people, and thank God as you pronounce the divine holy name. Or zaru la tzadik ul Yisrael simcha, simchu tzadikim b'Adonai, v'hodu lezecher kadesho. Page 17, Psalm 98. Mizmor shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, Ki niflaot asa, Hoshia lo yemino, Ozaro akodsho adia, Adonai Yeshuato, Le'eno goyim gilad tzidkato, Zachar chasta ve'emunato, Leveit Yisrael, Ra'u cholav se'aretz, Et Yeshuat Eloheinu, Horiu l'Adonai kol haaretz, Pitzchum ve'ranenu v'zameru, Zamru l'Adonai bechinar, Bechinar v'kol zimara, Bechatzot rod v'kol shofar, Horiu lifnei HaMelech Adonai, Yiram hayam u'maloho, Tevel v'yoshveva, Neharot yimchahu chaf, Yachad harim yiranenu, Lifnei Adonai kiva, Lishbot haaretz, Yishbot tevel b'tzedek, Ve'yamim v'meisharim, Yalai lalai 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 lalai, Yalai lalai lalai lalai, Yalai lalai 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 lalai, Yalai lalai 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 lalai, Yai lalai lalai lalai, Yalai lalai lalai lalai, Yalai lalai 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 lalai, Yai lai 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 lai. Page 19, Psalm 99. Adonai reigns, nations tremble. The one enthroned amidst the cherubim makes the world quake. Adonai is great in Zion above all nations. They shall acknowledge your name, saying, Great, all-inspiring Holy One. A sovereign strength lies in the love of justice, and you forge the paths of truth, judging Jacob righteously and justly. Exalt Adonai, our God. Bow down before God, the Holy One. Moses and Aaron among God's priests, and Samuel among those who called upon the divine name, called to you, and you answered them. You spoke to them from amidst the cloud. They kept your covenant and the law you gave them. You answered them, Adonai, our God. You were a forgiving God to them, even as you punished them for their transgressions. Exalt Adonai, our God, and bow down at God's holy mountain, for Adonai, our God, is holy. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu lahar kadosho, ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Please turn to page 21. We rise for Psalm 29. Mizmor leDavid, havu l'Adonai b'nei Elim, havu l'Adonai kavod va'oz, havu l'Adonai kavod shemo, ishtachavu l'Adonai behadrat kodesh. Kol Adonai al hamayim, el hakavod hirim, Adonai hamayim, hamayim rabim. Kol Adonai ba'koach, Kol Adonai behadar, Kol Adonai shover arazim, v'yishaber Adonai et alzei halvanon. Vayarkidem kemo egel Lebanon v'Sirion kemo v'nre'emim. Kol Adonai chotzev lavotesh, Kol Adonai yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yecholeu ayalot. Vayechasam yiaro uvehechalo kulo amer kavod, kulo omer kavod. Adonai lamabul yashav, vayeshev Adonai melech leolam, Adonai oz leamo yiten, Adonai yevarech etamu vashalom. Etamo vashalom. You may be seated. Continue page 23. Lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Hishme'anu elam yuchad. Adonai echad u'shemahu echad, L'shemu tiferet v'litila. Lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nikabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki mikor abiracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sov maaseh b'machshvat chila lecha, dodi lekrat kala, p'nei Shabbat nikabela, mikdash melech ir melucha, kumitzei mitocha hafecha, ravlach shevet, B'yemek habacha v'hu yachamo alaychem la, lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nikabela. Hitnari me'afar kumi, livshei vigdei tifartecha mi, hayad ben yishai beit halachmi, karva el nafshi geyala. Lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nikabela. Hitoreri, kiva ore kumi uri shir daberi, kivod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela lechadodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela lo tevoshi velo tikami ma tishtochachi umatehemi bach. Yechasu ani ayami venivnita ir al tila lechadodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela v'hayulim shisa shahawasayich v'rachakuko mivalayich yasisalayich Elohayich kimchas chatan al kala lechadodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela yamin usmo Tivotzi v'yet Adonai taritzi ayadish ben parti v'nismecha v'nagila lechadodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. We turn to the last stanza of Lechadodi, page 25. We face towards the west to greet the Shabbat bride. Ovi v'shalom ateret bala gam besimcha uvetzala toch emune am segula bo'i chala lechadodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. You may be seated, page 27. Psalm 92. Mizmor shel Yom HaShabbat, tov lahodot l'Adonai zamesh. Tzadik tamar yifrach Ki erez balvanon yiske shetulim bevet Adonai bechatz rod Eloheinu yafrichu od yenuvun beseva Deshenim v'rananim yeyu le'agid ki yashar Adonai tzuri v'lo avlatabo. Page 29. Adonai is sovereign, robed in splendor, girded in strength. The earth stands firm, not to be dislodged. From earliest time you are enthroned, you are eternal. The rivers rise up, Adonai. The rivers raise up their roar. The rivers raise up their waves. Above the roar of the vast sea and the majestic breakers of the ocean, Adonai stands supreme in the heavens. In your house, beautiful in its holiness, your testimonies endure, Adonai, for all time. Again, Shabbat Shalom, welcome to everyone. I'm so glad that you are here on this Shabbat Shuvah, this Sabbath of return, the Shabbat between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Just a couple notes in passing. For those that are interested, this Sunday, we will be meeting at the cemetery for Agudath Israel Etz Ahayem, the old section at 9:30 and the new section at 10. We're going to have a public ceremony, a short one at 10 at the new section. And if you would like me to offer a prayer at your individual gravestone, I would be more than happy to do that. So that's Sunday, 9:30 and 10. Vayelech is the name of this week's Torah portion. in Vayelech, we find Moses preparing the people for two important events. The first is that he, Moses, will die. And second, Joshua will lead the Israelites into the promised land. Moses gives the people some tough love by telling them they will eventually go against God's teaching, and God will punish them for disobedience. Of course, Moses has in mind to teach them the message of the season, that of teshuvah, or repentance. The language that the Torah uses for God's anger at the Israelites, denying the law, is striking and intended right before the day of judgment of Yom Kippur. In Deuteronomy 31:17, it says, "Then my anger shall be kindled against them in that day, and I will forsake them, and I will hide my face, v'histarti panai, from them." Hastarat panim is a theological concept that there are times when God will avert his gaze from humanity in general, and from Am Yisrael in particular. It is the explanation put forward for the many horrors and evils that have free reign in a world that we believe is under God's control. Why do evil men and women succeed in their plans without God invoking his power to thwart them? The answer is that when God withdraws himself from the world, it enables evildoers to effectively carry on their work. God, by averting his gaze, in effect hides himself, thereby setting humans free to act as they will without God's punishment and protection. The passage cited from this week's Parsha indicates that God hides his face as punishment for abandoning his Torah and violating his teachings. I have many, many difficulties with this theological stand. Any theology that falls to pieces in explaining the Holocaust, I have problems with. While we cannot fathom God's rationale for hiding himself, the challenge before us during these high holy days is to reflect upon our penchant for hiding ourselves. You simply instruct the one who has answered the call to say, he's busy. The phone rings and you would rather not speak to the caller. You simply instruct the one who has answered the call to say, he's busy. There may be very valid reasons why you may prefer not to speak to the party on the other end of the line, but in refusing, you have in essence hidden yourself. There are, of course, many strategies we can and do employ to hide from others. It is far more difficult, however, to confront the strategies we employ to hide from ourselves. It is amazingly simple to embrace rationales to explain away many, if not most, of our shortcomings and failures. We express uncomfortable facts. We repress uncomfortable facts. We project our feelings upon others. We close our eyes to both our refusal to assume responsibility for our actions or our failure to act, as well as the consequences of those decisions. These are the hidden secrets that are not only concealed from others, but are buried all too deeply within us. It is only to God that every aspect of our life is an open book. On Yom Kippur, we are challenged to open up ourselves to ourselves. The vidui, or confessional prayers, contain a long list of spiritual, moral, and ritual sins. While we are thankfully not guilty of every sin, we are far more culpable than we prefer to think. Confessing the sin of hirhur halev, the inner thoughts of the heart, should direct us to contemplate our feelings, not only toward strangers, but especially toward dear ones and friends. It is a challenge to step out of the shadows and to shed sunlight upon our true feelings, and if called for, hopefully move toward reconciliation. Asking forgiveness for our unknown sins is a challenge to delve deeply into our hearts, to surface those deeds we have managed to forget. These are often acts that have caused pain to others, and we can hardly appeal for God's grace if we fail to uncover and then atone for those sins. Teshuvah, repentance, is difficult enough when dealing with acts that are in the forefront of our consciousness. It is far more difficult and far more essential when dealing with the unknown that is so deeply buried and hidden. It demands extraordinary effort to uncover and then to confront them. Yet it is precisely this teshuvah that the day demands of us. Our refusal to try to meet this challenge is what Nachmanides termed an act of rebellion against God. I might add that it is also an act of rebellion against ourselves. On this Shabbat preceding the High Holy Days, we must remove the shackles that bind us to our acts of rebellion, to our bad habits, and to our callousness to others. Don't hide your face from others, but begin to show concern and make plans to change yourself for the good. Irene and I would like to wish each of you a healthy and a happy new year, and may it be filled with family and friends and only nachas. Shabbat Shalom and Shana Tova. We will continue with Ma'ariv as Chazan Charles will lead us with Ma'ariv, beginning on page 39a. Please rise for the Baruch Hu, the call to worship. Hold on a second.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
Baruch Adonai Barach Le'olam Va'ed.
ברוך אדוני מבורך לעולם ועד.
You may be seated. Baruch et Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
ומעביר יום ומהביא לילה ומבדיל בין יום בין לילה אדוני צבאות שמו אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני המוהרי ברבים.
Page 40.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל, עמך אתה, תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, בשוכבנו ובקומנו, נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. בהם חיינו באורך ימינו, באורך ימינו. ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, ואהבתך אל תשים ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווה היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם המזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
והיה אם שמות תשמעו אל מצוותי אשר אנוכי מצווה.
ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת. וילכם לציצית וראיתם אותו, וזכרתם מכל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם, ולא תתורו אחרי לבבכם אחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Page 43A.
המעביר בניו בין גזרי ים סוף, את רודפיהם ואת צונאיהם ותומות איבה, את רודפיהם ואת צונאיהם ותומות איבה, וראו בניו גבורתו, שבחו והודו לשמו. ומלכותו ורצון קיבלו להם, משה בני ישראל הכנו שירה, בשמחה רבה ויאמרו כולם, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. נפשך ראו בניך בוקע לפני משה, זה לי אנו ויאמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני יד טוב, וגלום יד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Page 45.
ושמור על צאתנו בואנו, לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני, הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל, ועל ירושלים.
Page 46, we rise for Vishamru.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות המרית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות המרית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות המרית עולם. כי ששת ימים, כי ששת ימים, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות המרית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות המרית עולם.
The silent Amidah on pages 47 through 52. And this is your chance to have a private conversation with God. Try and discover what is hiding your face from yourself, or why you hide your face from those in your family and friends that you need to see. Page 47. We'll go right to Kitty. We rise for Kiddush, page 55.
Baruch אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגופן
Amen.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו בשבת קודשו ביאהבה ורצון הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה בראשית כי הוא יום תחילו למקרא קודש זכר לציון מצרים כיוונו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Amen. And we remain standing as the ark is open for Aleinu, page 56.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשינו כגויי הרצון, ולא שמנו כמשפחות אדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים מיוסד הארץ ומושב עיקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו בגופי מרומים הוא אלוהינו אין עוד אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו ככתוב בתורתו וידעת היום והשריבות אל לבבך כי אדוני הוא אלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת עיניו אין עורף כי המלכות שלך היא עול מעט תינוק בכבוד, ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
You may be seated. This week, we will observe yard sites for Lena G. Kermish, Rosa Rich, Alexander of Zaradel, Morris N. Kapoya, Raymond Hassan, Molly Luskin, Sam Baker, Florence Rudnick, Ida R. Saracen, Morris Kessler, Raymond Schneider, Ruby Blitz, Sanford Cohn, Bob Isaac Shamaria, Rose Leah Schinbaum, Ruth Werfel, and Marion Page Siegel. We ask those that are observing yard sites to please send in a remembrance that we can share along with the names that we're reading. This one is for Raymond Bookie Schneider, of blessed memory, beloved husband, father, and grandfather, was truly a family man. Nothing was more important to him. He was an esteemed professor of plant pathology at both University of California, Berkeley, and LSU, who trained and mentored dozens of graduate students and junior faculty. Raymond's second home was in the outdoors, whether on land or sea. His spirit lives on through his family's cherished memories of sunsets on the beach and sailing expeditions on the San Francisco Bay and Lake Pontchartrain. Nice. Those observing yard site and those who mourn, please rise, page 58, and join me for the Kaddish tone, the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadal shmei v'yomad divrach yurtei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayichon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael ba'agalav izman kariv v'maru amen yehi shmei rabam v'varach le'olam olmei maya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei kudisha b'richu leila leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiran b'yomah v'maru amen yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'maru amen oseh shalom b'mramav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'maru amen. And I forgot to read one name that was typed in online for Benjamin Joseph Dubrow. We wish comfort to all of those who mourn, and may their names always be for a blessing. Thank you for joining us for Kabbalat Shabbat. Everything's very pensive always before Yom Kippur, making sure everything is in order. We have services all planned, our talks are all laid out, and that be the festivities, if you can call it that, for Yom Kippur begin Tuesday night at 5:30 p.m. Is that correct? That is correct. During the break on Yom Kippur, Rabbi Steve Silberman and I will be doing a healing service via Zoom at 4 p.m. We're going to try and get that link out to our congregation and our Havdalah group, but look for that soon. We have a whole host of programs on during Sukkot. The highlight, though, is on Friday night, October 14th, where we have our annual Pray in Pink Shabbat, and we have a fantastic speaker lined up, which I think was emailed to everyone, wasn't it? I think it was. I didn't print it out, so I'm sorry I don't have it with me, but it is going to be, our sukkah has been built in our courtyard this year. This is the first time we'll be in the courtyard. We are wired for internet, so we will be able to broadcast services from our sukkah in the courtyard. I'm looking forward to that. With that, we'll go ahead and conclude our, page 59, I forgot to add Psalm 27. L'David Adonai hovish mimi mi'ira.
כי צפינני בסוכו ביום רעם. כי אביבי מעזבוני בנעזו. לולא האמנתי לראות כתוב אדוני בארץ חיים, קווה אל אדוני חזק ואמץ ליבך, וקווה לאדוני.
And we will conclude our service on page 62 with Yigdal.
יגדל אלוהים חי וישתבח, נמצא ויהנה אל מציאותו, אחד ואין יחיד כייחודו, נעלם וגם אין סוף לאחדותו, אין לו דמות הגוף ואינו גוף, לא נערוך אליו קדושתו, קדימון לכל דבר אשר נברא, ראשון והם ראשית ראשיתו, הינו אדון עולם וכל נוצר, יורה גדולתו ומלכותו, שפע נבואתו נתנו אל אנשי סגולתו ותפארתו, לא קם בישראל כמו שעוד נביא ומעביר את אמונתו, תורת אמת נתן לעמואל על יד נביאו, למען ביתו לא יכל לפעל ולא ימיר דעתו, ליולמים לזולתו, צופה ויודע סתרנו, מביט לסוף דבר אדמתו, גומל לאיש חסד כמפעלו, נותן לרשע רע כרשעתו, ישלח לקץ ימין משיחנו, לפתות מחכה קץ ישועתו, מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך הדיין שם דהילתו, מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך הדיין שם דהילתו, שם דהילתו.
Shabbat